Welcome to yet another episode about motorcycle rectifier regulators. This was actually supposed to be last week's video, but it didn't arrive in time. What you're looking at here is the cheapest full-wave single-phase rectifier regulator that I could find. It came from AliExpress, all the way from China. When I first looked it up, it was 86 pence, I think. That was an introductory offer. From the time I'd logged into my account, it went to something like £1.24. And then by the time the duty and delivery and everything was on, it came to £3.20, or something like that. So it's about £3.20 odd. I don't hold out a lot of hope for it, because there's even these marks on the back here on the resin, which at first I thought the resin hadn't completely covered the components inside, but what I think it is actually before the resin was completely set, it was chucked in a bin with other ones, and these fins are pushed into it. It looks like exactly the same distance, so it's been resting in a bin full of these. So they obviously don't treat them particularly well when they're making them. It does look like quite a rough casting. It seems the same as the last one, but it's very, very rough looking. So I'll get it set up and I'll test it, but before I put it on the bike, we'll do a diode test. So I'll go from the pink, which is an AC input, and I'll go to the negative. And I think, that tests like a diode, yep. So I'll go from the yellow to the negative as well. Nothing that way. Try the other way. Yep, looks good. And we'll try to the red. Nothing that way on the pink. Where's the yellow? Try the yellow, nothing that way. Turn them round. That's higher. Quite a bit higher actually. Try from the pink. That's kind of more the reading I would have expected. The last one was just showing like a diode on the positive and the negative outputs. But that looks like there could be some regulation circuitry in there. Right, I've got this rectifier regulator set up to test on my Honda CG125. Same as the last one I tested, just temporarily connected. I've disconnected the AC output from the alternator from this bike system, and it's going into this temporarily mounted setup here. I'm also measuring the voltage so we can see how well it regulates. Right, here we go. Bike's warmed up, but I still won't be revving it too hard. Nowhere near its full RPM. We'll get an idea. Well, you saw it with your own eyes. It actually worked. It seemed to regulate the voltage fine. It seemed to be plenty of power available when I put the lights on and the brake light and everything. So simultaneously disappointing and pleasing, because I was hoping, part of me was hoping it wouldn't work so I could take it to bits, see what was inside it, but it actually works. I need to test it over a long period of time just to make sure it did produce enough output to keep the battery charged. But yeah, it seems to work for £3.20 or something. How long it would last, I don't know, but there you go. I actually meant to mention this in the last week's video about the motorcycle charging systems. For example, here I've got the BSA Bantam, which is one of the ones I used as an example. But for as long as I can remember, when I first started riding motorbikes, there seemed to be a lot of people had terrible problems with their rectifier regulators on motorbikes. They were always packing in, and the old systems that used just a diode bridge with a Zener diode and things, they were always burning out, and The Zener diodes were always going on fire and things like that. Well, not always going on fire, but we could fail spectacularly. I mean, one of my rectifier regulators in my Ducati failed in a beautiful pyrotechnics display in the middle of a town, which was quite interesting. But never seemed to have this problem with cars. Very occasionally somebody would need a new alternator on their car, but there was never any of these problems with rectifier regulators going on fire and things. The main reason for that is that motorcycles tend to use permanent magnet rotor in the alternators, so the output from that can't be varied, whereas car alternators tend to be electromagnet, and that's how they regulate the output. They put a very small voltage onto the electromagnet windings. If you need a very low output, if you need full output, they'll put full voltage onto it. So that's how they regulate it. Generally, there'll be perhaps some modern bikes work in that way, but that's the reason for that.